Hi guys, it is Saturday, July 31st, 2021, and I'm here to do a video, finally. Um, Actually, as I record this, I'm uploading a video that I filmed on June 1st and never uploaded. My friends on Virtual Stitchers have been giving me a hard time about it, so I'm like, okay, let me upload it. So I'll upload and post that one, and then this one probably won't be very far behind it. So this is kind of covering June and July, and it was okay. June was not a very good stitching month. July was better, but June was the first month that I didn't finish my zombie run. It was a 10-mile month, and I only did 9 miles. That was disappointing. And I don't even remember what happened. I don't remember why I didn't do it. I think there were a lot of days in June that I didn't stitch. I was sleeping. I don't know. But I got to the end of June. I got to the last day of June, and I needed 1 more mile, and I'm like, it's just not going to happen. And part of it was the piece that I had to stitch on, because you have to stitch on all 4 pieces, and I only had one that I hadn't stitched on yet, and I was like, yeah, no. So we'll do that in July WIPs. In July haul. I'm only doing part of the haul. I mean, there's plenty to see, but it's not everything that I bought, because we'd be here for 2 days. July was a spendy month. So there was this plan in place I don't know when they started planning this, in April or May. Sarah at our Stitching Kingdom has family outside of Branson, Missouri. And her family was planning a trip to Branson, or to that area, to see her family. Vicki at Reading and Stitching lives about 2 hours outside of Branson and in northwest Arkansas. And they were planning to meet up in Branson and go to Cecilia's. And they were talking about this on Virtual Stitchers. And they were talking about it somewhere in the middle of June. I was like, I want to go. And Vicky's like, well, come on. So I got it worked out with Vicky and Sarah. And I went to my boss, and I got it worked out with my boss. And so I got myself a plane ticket, and I flew myself to Arkansas. And I stayed with Vicky for 4 days. And it was great. And we went to Cecilia's with Sarah and her mom and her daughter. And Vicky and I went to the Silver Needle in Tulsa and did some shopping. We met up with Cheryl at Blue Nose Stitcher while we were at Silver Needle. We went out to lunch with her. And Vicky and I sat on her deck, and we watched movies, and we stitched, and we went out to eat, and I got to meet her mom, and it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. She made she took my phone away and said you can't touch your phone until you do 100 stitches. She was mean, but I finished my Choose My WIP for that week. That's what I was focusing on, because I had it, like, Choose My WIP was due on Thursday night, and on Tuesday I was just starting it. It's 500 stitches, and I'm like, I need to hurry up, but I did it. Yeah, I think I started it Tuesday morning. So it was a lot of fun. So I bought a lot of stuff because we went to 2 shops. We went to the Silver Needle. We went to Cecilia's. Um, we both bought a lot. We both spent a lot of money. Uh, Sarah and her mom spent significantly less, but they only went to the one shop. So, it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, had a good time. In Arkansas, and we went to Arkansas, we went to Oklahoma, we went to Missouri. It's just so pretty. I live in Los Angeles, and there are places in Los Angeles that are pretty. There are things about Los Angeles that are pretty, but a lot of it is very metropolitan, and there's a lot of cement, and there's a lot of buildings, and there's a lot of houses, and there's a lot of streets and cars and smog, and you know, it's Los Angeles. When you go out to Arkansas, everything is green, and there's trees, and there's wooded areas, and there's grass, and there's rivers, and it's just all so pretty, and the cost of living is so much lower. I was kind of jealous. Like, in Arkansas, you can pay $700 and own your home. I mean, $700 a month and own your home, and I pay more than double that for an apartment that I rent. And it's a small apartment. It's not even big. So I was like, wow. And the food is cheaper. Everything is just cheaper in the Midwest than it is here in LA. Um, the prices here in California are ridiculous, but they really are. But I had a good time. So thank you, Vicky, for letting me stay, and Sarah and Cheryl, and it was great. That was my second week of vacation. My first week of vacation, I stayed home, did some stitching, did a little bit of cleaning, not as much as I needed to. Saw some other friends. The first week of vacation, I met up with another virtual stitching friend. The first week, I met up with Alma at Alma's Little Wonders, and because we live about 20 minutes from each other, we don't live very far from each other. So we got together one day and uh, had lunch and did some stitching, and we have the same project. So we both took our project, and um, we stitched on the same project. So that was fun too. I hope to get together with her again at some point here. Hi, Alma. Um, so that was fun too. July was a fun month. I got to meet some of my virtual stitching friends and didn't really do as much stitching as I hoped, but especially for being off for 2 weeks. But I did more than June. It was a better month than June. I finished my zombie run in July. I did my makeup mile that I missed in June, and it wasn't even the last day of the month. Usually on the last day of the month, I'm going, I still need to finish my last mile. I still need to finish my last mile. And I was done on the 28th, and I'm like, hey, look, I finished my zombie run, and it's not even the end of the month yet. All right, enough of me rambling. July was a good month. I saw my virtual stitching friends. I had a birthday. I did some shopping. I spent a lot of money. Because I also had to pay for a plane ticket. Um, the worst, I'll tell you guys, the worst thing about my trip to Arkansas was coming home. So my flight was at 9:15 Central Time, Arkansas time. So we left Vicky's at 7. She dropped me off at 7:30 at the airport. I was standing in line to check in, and I get a text. Everybody in line got the text at the same time saying, the flight is delayed. It's taken off at 10:50. And we were all moaning and groaning about it. So now, we got to sit in the airport for an extra hour and a half. So I check in, and I go through security, and I get up to the gate, and we're sitting there, and of course you got to wear a mask. And they finally started boarding the plane at 10:30ish. I think there was weather in Denver. There was another flight to Denver that was delayed. It left before mine did, but it was also delayed because I think there was a big storm like in the Rocky Mountains because there was weather in Denver. There was weather going through New Mexico and Arizona. Um, they finally started boarding the flight at 10:30. We sat on the ground because then they started running some tests on the engine. I don't know what they were testing, but it did not make me feel good. Here, you sit here while we do some tests on the engine to make sure we can get you, get you back to California safely. I'm like, this is not comforting. So we sat on the ground until after 11:30. It was after 11:30 before we finally left the gate, and you could tell that the flight attendants were kind of frustrated too. Um, when they were getting ready to leave, usually, the flight attendant will do a final walkthrough to make sure that your tray table is up and your seatbelt is buckled and your stuff is stowed into your seat, not sitting in your lap or on your tray table. And she's like, usually I would do a normal walkthrough or a final walkthrough, but we're on the honor system. Just be good. Let's get out of here. She didn't even do it. She's like, let's just go. Let's get out of here. So we finally left Arkansas after 11:30. It was almost 1 a.m. before I got into LA. Um, got into LA. I flew Allegiant, which, by the way, has the tiniest tray tables known to mankind. They're like the size of a large phone or a small tablet. They're tiny. And the flight attendants were joking about it. It's not like a secret. They're like, we know they're the smallest ones in the industry. Um, like they're enough. They make you buy a soda and like if you want a bag of chips, and it holds that, and that's about it. Like, there's, it's tiny. Um, but at LAX, they built this terminal. It's between the two runways. It's connected to the Tom Bradley International Terminal. Um, it has Tom Bradley International Terminal has all kinds of shopping, duty-free shops and food and all kinds of stuff, Chanel and all kinds of stuff. This terminal over here has nothing. There's no food, there's no shopping, there's no go in and get a newspaper, a magazine, or a pair of earbuds. There's nothing. And I didn't have time to go back over to the Tom Bradley International Terminal. Because, of course, your gate is always the last one at the very end of the terminal. That was me. Um, so, but since it's not connected to the main part of the airport, you have to go into the airport and you have to take a shuttle from Terminal 1 out to this outlying terminal over there. And so when you come back in, you got to do the same thing. They land at this outlying terminal and you have to take the shuttle back in to Terminal 1 to get your baggage and to connect to ground transportation, get your car, get your Uber, whatever. So I did that. But by the time I got in the shuttle, got back, got my bag, it was 1:30 or after 1:30. Went outside, and I thought that Uber was going to be right outside somewhere where I could just catch it right there on Century or whatever that street is right there in front of the airport. Or whatever street it is that runs in front of the terminals. No, they had passenger pickup if your family was coming to pick you up. They had rental cars if you were, picking up a rental car, but not rideshare apps. And I was so frustrated trying to find the Uber pickup. And I finally asked the lady, she was cleaning, I'm like, where is this? And she says, it's down there. And, so I kept walking. I still was in the wrong place because I didn't understand where she was telling me to go. And then I asked somebody else, and they're like, oh, it's down there. I see that sign. I'm like, I finally saw it. I went down there, asked somebody over there, and she's like, yeah, it's back here. It's all the way at the end in the back, of course. Finally found, I was so frustrated, you guys. I wanted to cry because I'm like, it's 2 in the morning. I just want to go home. It's, and then I got on Lyft to get a ride, and it wouldn't connect, and I had to start the app over. I mean, it wouldn't connect to a driver, and I had to start the app over again to get a driver. It was 2:30 in the morning before I walked in my door, and it took me 9 hours to get from Vicky's house to my house. Between the delay and just trying to find Uber, and I was so frustrated. I'm like, I just want to go home. So that was the worst part of the trip. Staying with Vicky was wonderful. She was great. Her husband was great. Um, the the whole thing was great except trying to come home. So, um, yeah. So that was my vacation. I met up with Alma. I went to Arkansas. It was great. And then I came home and I had a few more days off, and then I had to go back to work. And yeah, In fact, before I logged out of work yesterday, I was supposed to do my time card and I forgot. So I'm gonna have to do it on Monday. I ended up calling a participant at the last minute and I forgot to do my time card. By the time I hung up with her, it was time to log out. And I should have taken 2 minutes. I forgot. Anyway, enough of me babbling. I've been babbling for 15 minutes now. Let me show you what I worked on. So, well, these are just going to be kind of in the order that they're here. Because I've got a lot of stuff squeezed onto this little tiny table. And it's about to slide off. In fact, I expect it'll slide off before I'm done here. So, I'll just show this first because it's on the top. So, this is my Victorian village. In fact, yesterday I saw this on Stash Unload. Somebody's selling it. So if you're interested, it was on Stash Unload as of last night. I don't know if it's been claimed or not. So this is what it looks like. These are the 6. They were one sheet, you might remember, and I ended up cutting them apart. If you remember, this piece is in the doghouse because the plastic is cracking. And so I ended up cutting these other 2 ornaments off just to take some of the stress off the plastic and try to keep it from cracking any further. So in June, since I didn't do an update for June, I finished the back stitching on the yellow and brown house. So that one's complete. That's number 7. Yeah, this is number 7. And then for July, I started back stitching the village store. This is number 8. So you can see I back stitched around the window there and the door. And I forgot to put the chimneys on. There's a chimney on each side that I gotta go back and put on and finish the back stitch. So that'll be number 8. And then I have another piece of plastic. I still have 4 more ornaments. And a friend sent me a new sheet of plastic to do those on because the sheet, no, it keeps cracking. So, I gotta sneeze. So I have 4 more. I want to finish this year, so I need to be like stitching and back stitching an ornament a month in order to finish it this year. I have there's 1 more house, the lighthouse, the church, and the schoolhouse. And that's all I have left on this project. So I need to be doing like 1 a month in order to finish it this year. So that's Victorian Village. This piece, this girl is going away. She's gonna get put away until next year. I just every time she comes up on Zombie Run, I'm like, ugh. And that was part of where I was in June. I was like, I don't want to stitch on this. And in July, I had to do 2 miles on her because I needed a July mile and then I needed to make up my June mile. So I did 2 miles on her. And when I was done, I put her away. I'm like, I don't want to work on her. So this is Silver Moon Tea by Mirabilia. And you can see there, I started filling in the moon. I filled in some more of the border. So that's where she is. And she's gonna, maybe this will make it better. Yeah, that's better. She's gonna go away. And I'll pull her out sometime next year, maybe. I doubt she'll come back out this year, but maybe next year. I'm just like over it. So that's Silvermoon tea. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm just not feeling her. But this piece, this piece I wanted to finish in June, and then I wanted to finish it in July. It's still not finished. This is the piece that I took to Vicky's with me because I needed it for Choose My WIP. This is Jane Austen by Modern Folk Embroidery. And if you remember, because we've been over this several times now, I don't have enough fabric to do the alphabets at the bottom. So I'm just doing the top. And you can see I'm almost done. I just have to finish that middle building, and there's one more building next to it, one more little house. And I just got to finish the border, and that's all I need. And it'll be done. So I'm going to work on it today. I'm going to put 300 stitches in it today for a monthly for daily 30. And then in August, I'll try to find another prompt for it to fit into and put some more two. I might need 2 more prompts. Like 2 300 stitch prompts maybe. I don't know how much is left, but she needs to be finished. I'm getting close. I put 500 stitches in her for Choose My WIP, and I'm gonna hopefully put 300 more stitches in her today for another monthly, and then actually I put 600 stitches in her because after I finished Choose My WIP, I did another 100, so I could get a second monthly on daily 30. And so I'm gonna try to get a third monthly and push her a little closer to the finish line. This piece, this is the piece. I enabled Alma into this piece, and that's why we were both working. We both took it to our little get together, um, and worked on it together. And then she enabled EJ. So EJ at Sunshine Stitches went and bought the chart. She's going to stitch it next year. So this is Three Things by Moira Blackburn. And so I put 300 stitches in this. I did the flowers on the border there, and I started the little flowers on the bottom. My goal for this year for this piece is to finish this page, and all I have left to do, there's a let me show you on my phone. There's a little square, like a little square of stems with flowers on it at the bottom there. Show you. So it's this part here, and the top part of that is on the first page, and the bottom part is on the page underneath it. So I'm going to do the part of it that's on the top page, and I need to do the flowers on the top border. And that's all I need to do to finish the page. So I'm going to find a couple of prompts in August and finish the page, and that'll be a finish on my WIP Go. I can mark a WIP Go square with that, and then it'll probably go away until next year. And maybe I'll set a bigger goal next year. I only set 1 page this year. Maybe I'll set a bigger goal for next year. So that's my 3 things sampler. I don't really know how many stitches are left. I'm hoping, I think I'm going to use a prompt. It's 300 or 400 stitches, And so I'm going to do that and see how far I get. And then I might need to find another prompt after that. I don't know. But we're going to try to finish this page this month. And then this one, some of you probably saw this on my Instagram. I posted it on Instagram. This is begging to be finished at this point. And this is going to be, I'm going to finish Jane Austen, but then this is going to be my next, let me get this one finished. Quaker game board. Quaker game board. So I have 6, well, I got to do the blank square at the bottom. There is the letter X. And then I have 16 more squares. And then I got to fill in all those diamonds. I was trying to find a specialty stitch to fill in those diamonds with, but I think I'm just going to do the craft stitch. So I think I'm going to try to do 1,000 stitches on it in August and September. I thought that was going to finish it, but I think I'm going to need October too. I don't think 2,000 stitches is going to finish it. I think I'm going to need a couple of miles in October to finish it. So I'm going to start pushing this one towards a finish too. We need to get some finished projects, you guys. So I've been doing no new starts this year. And of course, all of us that have been doing no new starts, there's a lot of us doing no new starts. But of course, when you're doing no new starts, you're like, oh, next year I'm going to start this and this and this. My to start list is way longer than is even remotely realistic. I can't start all those things. I don't want to start all those things. I don't want that many WIPs. So I'm going to have to do some picking and choosing. And I'm going to have to finish some stuff. Like, I'm going to have to finish some stuff that I have going. And I'm going to have to, start some stuff and finish it before I start something else. So I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to do some juggling to make sure that I don't end up with 50 WIPs at the end of next year, because I'm not trying to go there. I'm trying to be down to, I was trying to be down to 20 at the end of this year. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm hoping to be down to like 23. And I don't want to go back, so I don't want to end up back at 30 or 40 or 50. So I'm going to have to do some balancing here. So, and I've been saving this for last on purpose. I had to finish. And I had a big finishing party on Virtual Stitchers, and I appreciate the Virtual Stitchers. I appreciate, one of the things I particularly appreciated was because I knew I was close. I was trying to finish it the night before, and I just ran out of energy, and I'm like, it's just going to have to wait till tomorrow. I still have too far to go. Like, it was still too far to go, and I'm like, this is going to have to wait till tomorrow, because it was like 1 a.m., and I'm like, I can't stay up until this is done. So everybody knew, it's going to Virtual Stitcher tonight. Laura's going to finish this piece. And then, so I got on, and there were a bunch of people there already. And people were like, oh yeah, so-and-so told me you were going to finish it. So-and-so told me you were having to finish. I heard you were having to finish. So I appreciated that. Like, it wasn't just, I'm going to get on Virtual Stitchers. It's like people were, like, telling people, hey, come watch Laurel have her finish. So I appreciated that. So you may have already guessed this. But I finished Raspberry Homecoming. This is Raspberry Homecoming by Told in a Garden, Marilyn Levitt Emblem. And I stitched it on doubloon by Picture This Plus. It's 28 count doubloon by Picture This Plus. And I started it on November 8th, 2019. There were a group of us that started it together, and a couple that came in later and started it. And at the end of June, in fact, I have a picture. I'll show you where it was at the end of June, I think. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, at the end of June, I had all of their clothes done, and I had all of the bushes done except for the berries. I needed to put the berries on the bushes. So when we got to July, I needed to do the berries. I needed to do just the miscellany that's there, the baskets, the faces and hair, the shoes, the back stitch, and the title at the bottom. So I did that. I got 7 zombie run miles out of it. I did 7 zombie run miles in June and 7 in July to finish it. And I finished it on July 10th on Virtual Stitchers. So I was very excited. This is my first finish for this year. And next year, my friend Laura and I are going to stitch Blueberry Homecoming, which is similar, except there's a house at the top, and the quilts have more blue in them. And the people are in a little different order, but it's the same idea with the people picking blueberries off the bushes. And so there's my finish. Yay! So I was very excited about that. So yay. So that usually, usually when I finish a project, I take the kit apart and I empty the project bag, and it's like, woohoo, an empty bag. That one, no, I'm just putting it back in the cabinet because Blueberry Homecoming is in there, and I'm going to need that next year because Laura and I are going to stitch it. So, in fact, I promised the chart to somebody, and I need to send that off to her. But, so that was my finish. I was very excited. And that's what I've been stitching on for June and July. For August, I moved. What are they doing? There's something like there's a little space in between my vertical blinds where I can see some movement. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. For August, I replaced Raspberry Homecoming because I finished it. I'm trying not to send this stuff sliding to the floor. I'm replacing it with. Let me show you a picture. This is one of my bag of the months I got from Gary and Ronnie. It's beautiful. I think this was the bag from last August. I'm replacing it with Moon Garden by Blackbird Designs because Zeb. And so this is going to move into Zombie Run. This is where I am on it so far. I only did the 200 stitches that I needed to get in it in No New Starts last year. So I'm not very far on it at all. And I'm gonna work on it. I've figured out that in order to meet my goals, because I want to finish this, I want to finish the ornaments, I want to finish Quaker Game Board. I'll show you the next project that I'm gonna to put my zombie run. Okay. I've switched Silver Moon Tea out of my zombie run because I'm like, I don't want to stitch on this. Every time it comes up, I'm like, ugh. So I'm like, let me just move it out. Let me put something else in there. So this is what I'm gonna put in there. And you guys have seen plenty of this before, even though I haven't worked on it like in a year. But this is Story Cube, The Littlest Fairy by Selena Fennick, shredded by Hade. And this is where I am on it. And this is gonna replace Silver Moon Tea. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I got about 4,200 stitches left on it. So this is another piece that I want to finish. So I figured out that in order to finish all of this, I need to be doing about 20 zombie run miles a month. I need to be doing 1,000 stitches on each project every month. What I have been doing, because zombie run only requires 10 or 12 miles depending on what the month is, and what I have been doing is I've been doing 4 or 5, 6, 7 miles on one project, Quaker Game Board or Raspberry Homecoming for the most part, and then I've been doing 1 or 2 or 3 miles on the other projects. And that's not going to cut it if I'm trying to finish all of these. I need to be doing like 5 miles on each project every month. So this is going to be my goal. Might be interesting because July was the first month where I haven't been there on the last day of the month trying to finish mile 10 or mile 12. So trying to get 20 in will be interesting. But I need to really step it up if I'm going to finish all this because, putting 200 stitches a month in something is not going to get it done on any of these projects. So, this is my new goal because I really do want to finish all these projects. I want to start new stuff next year. I want to clear some space for some new starts and to reduce my WIP list some and just have some finished projects. This was kind of part of the point of no new starts. And I haven't made a lot of progress on all my projects. Like if you look from where I was when I started in January to where I am now at the end of July, I've made a lot of progress on all of them. Like I'm not sitting here like, oh, I haven't done anything for 7 months. Like they're all a lot closer to finishing than they were when I started, but they're not finished yet. So I want to finish them. I also want to finish a Stitch for Sweet Freedom. She might get pushed into next year. She's a little lower on the priority list. If she gets pushed into next year, I can live with that. But the rest of this, I would like to finish. All right, so that's that's about it for for WIPs and plans. In semi-sane. Oh, I am gonna find a prompt or two for 3 things because I want to finish that page and finish Jane Austen. Semi-sane is doing Uno this month. I think they're calling it Uno. We had a big debate about that on Virtual Stitchers. We've had several because the Americans call it Uno and the Aussies call it Uno. um, and I guess Semi-Sane is calling this one Uno. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to put my zombie run pieces in it because it just naturally fits. You need 4 pieces. I have 4 zombie run pieces. It works. Yeah. So I'm going to get some stitches in on Moon Garden. Get some stitches in on the fairy. Get some more squares on Quaker game board. 1,000 stitches on Quaker game board gets me like 5 or 6 of those squares. It gets 1,000 stitches gets me a long way on Quaker game board. It really does. So that's the plan for August. I just need to spend more time stitching and less time sitting on virtual stitch, or sleeping, or playing on my phone. Um, Vicky was like, "You would get a lot more stitching done if you didn't pick up your phone every time it beeped at you." And she's right. She's not wrong. I would get a lot more stitching done if I put down my phone. And don't lie, I'm not the only one that struggles with this. I know you all do. Don't lie. Um, so that's the plan for August. If I did that, if I did 400, if I did 1,000 stitches on my 4 projects, plus my stitches for 3 things in Jane Austen, that would probably put me at about 5,000 stitches, or more than 5,000 stitches for the month. And that would be fantastic. That's what I was stitching at, like, in 2019. I think I was doing about 5,000 stitches a month between magical stitches and daily 30. I think that's about what I was doing. And then it kind of dropped off last year. Last year was a hard year, and it kind of dropped off, and I haven't quite gotten back up there yet. I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite there yet. All right. So y'all want to see what I bought? I bought a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of stuff. Let me put all this over here. And this isn't trying to keep this from sliding off. Let's see, I can just put it here. This isn't in any particular order. They're not separated by where I bought them or in chronological order. They're just kind of however I could get them to fit here on the table without sliding off. Yeah. So I'll start with these. These are project bags that I got from Vic. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to say about plans. So see, I was trying to prevent stuff from sliding off, and stuff went sliding. So Vicky at Stitch and Button, her Facebook group, it's the word stitch, the letter N, the word button, and her floss tube, is doing a stitch along in September. She's calling it the Remember 9/11 Sal, hashtag Remember 911 Sal. And it's anything that you want to stitch that has to do with 9/11 or patriotic. She's starting it on 9/11. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11. She's doing a Twin Towers piece from Stitching Jewels on Etsy. I'm going to do a Stitch for Sweet Freedom because I don't have anything that's 9/11 and I can't start anything. So a Stitch for Sweet Freedom will work. So this is one of the bags I got from her. It's got the patriotic stripe on the back, on the inside, and then it's got this cute pattern with the flowers and the mailboxes and the flags. And then I also got this one. This one was gifted to me by a friend, and I appreciate that. A beautiful hummingbird bag. It's got this beautiful print on the back, and then just the red on the inside. I also got my bag of the month from Gary, but I didn't bring it to show. And I won one of the little bags. They do drawing every month, and I won one of the little bags. Weird. Alright. This stuff is stuff, it's sort of a mix of stuff that I got from my trip, from Silver Needle, Cecilia's, and stuff that I got on Stash and Load. So this one I got from Cecilia. This is Hedgerow by Plum Street. This is one of their animal stacks. It's adorable. Sorry about the glare. And then I got two more of those. Oh, one of them fell on the floor over there. I got Raccoon Rabble. And I got this from Stash and Load. And I also got Llama Lump. Oops. It fell on the floor over here. And I'm not gonna get it because y'all don't need to see my bed on the screen. Actually, there's something else down there that I wanted to show too. I got this from the Silver Needle. This is Sophie's Sheep by Jim Shore. It's adorable. They also have a cow and a pig, which I did not get, but I might have to go back and get them because she's adorable. Oh, here's Llama Lump. There's Llama Lump. This I got from Stash and Load. This is the Mark Your Mystery by Isabelle Vautier. It's pretty. It's stitched in. What does she stitch it in? Oh, I guess she stitched it in DMC 15. The instructions are all in French. I added to another one of my collections, and by collection I mean I have one. I have Candy Corn of Mischief. I got Candy Cane of Christmas, and I got Flag of Stars. I got these from Cecilia's. And those are by Bent Creek. I got this at Cecilia's because it was cute. Not All Who Wander Are Lost by Heart and Hand. They had the model of this there. This one, this was a lucky find. I was going through one of the racks at Cecilia's and I came across this. I was like, hey, because these are out of print and they're sought after. And I think this was the only one they had and I found it. But this is part of Cherrywood Studios dictionary series, Linen and Ada. And EJ also has it, so we might stitch it together next year or the year after. She did the stitch one already, and we might do this one together. This was a whim. I saw it. I was like, oh, that's cute. This is Stitch Over 2 by Hands On Design. And I got this at, I think I got this at the Silver Needle. This piece, I blame on Abby Bella Stitch. Abby has had this as a WIP for probably as long as I've known her. I met Abby in the early 2000s on the Teresa Winston bulletin board, and she's had this as a WIP practically that whole time. I don't think she's finished it yet. But this is Blackstone Fantasy Garden by Ink Circles. And I've always really liked it, so I finally got it. I don't think that I have it. There's a tiny possibility I do, and it's a double, but I don't think so. This piece I got on Stash and Load, and I'm blaming this on Sheila at Sunshine Stitchers. She just finished this. This is the Erica Michael sampler book. And she just finished hers. So I'm blaming this on Sheila. This is one I think might be a double. I wasn't sure when I was in the store. I seem to remember buying something similar to this. And I don't know if it was this one or if it was something that was just similar. And it's the same. I don't know. But this is Those Who Sing by Drawn Thread. And I just thought it was pretty. I saw somebody on Facebook yesterday that was stitching it. And I was like, oh. And when I got this at Silver Needle. When I was at Silver Needle and I was going through my stuff and I'm like, what am I going to get? What am I going to leave? I ended up getting all of it. But I was kind of going through it and doing the math and figuring it. I was like, I'm going to keep this one because the Drawn Thread is retired and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it again. So I kept that one. This one, I think it's a, this one is Indigo Star by Hands On Design. I got the Weeks Dye Works to go with it. It's Weeks Dye Works Navy. I have it here somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. But I just thought that was pretty. I got this at the Silver Needle. I just thought it was pretty. I think they may have had a model of it. The Silver Needle has so many models. Oh my gosh. Like their Mill Hill wall, they have like this whole wall of Mill Hills. And almost all of them have models. Almost all of them. They have so many models. And there were several things in there that I bought because of the model. This is one of the things that I got from a friend who was destashing some stuff. I'm not showing most of that just because there's already a bunch here. But this one I decided to show. This is Chris Mouse by Mill Hill. So the Silver Needle is huge. And they have a lot of stuff. It's a big store. They have a lot of stuff. And when I went in, it's like, how am I ever going to choose what to get? Like, they have so much stuff. How am I ever going to make a decision? So I was walking around and I was looking at stuff. And this was the first thing that I saw that says, this has to go home with me. We have a winner. And I eventually added other stuff to it, of course. But this was the first one I'm like, this is going home with me. This is Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. And I have wanted this pattern since it came out. And one of the main reasons that I didn't get it yet is because I didn't know where to get the Valdani. It's stitched in Valdani. I didn't know where to get it. But I went to the Silver Needle and they had them together. They came together. So, I got the chart and the Valdani. I love this piece. The only thing, when I was looking at it when it came out, the only thing that I think that it should have on it, and it doesn't, is a fire hydrant. I didn't see a fire hydrant on it. They've got all kinds of other stuff that dogs like squirrels, and they got a little dog house, and birds, and, things that dogs like, but they don't have a fire hydrant. This is a reprint. This is not an original. This is Hocus Pocus by the Prairie Schooler. They had the model for Trick or Treat up, and I was like, oh, I want that, but they didn't have it. So I got this one. I asked her if she had Trick or Treat, and they couldn't find it. They didn't have it. But I got that one. We've just got too much stuff in here. Move this stuff over here. It's all gonna end up on the floor. It's all gonna slide off. All right. This one I blame on our long lost floss tuber, Sarah Shears. This is Dreaming of Daisies by Rosewood Manor. And Sarah is the first place where I saw this one. And, you know, Rosewood Manor has a whole series of these. They got roses, and they got sunflowers, and they got all kinds of them. This is still the one that I like the best. Glenna did Dreaming of Sunflowers, and it's beautiful, but I still like this one the best. This is the one that, it was the model that made me get it. They had this big model at the Silver Needle. They have this big model up. They had this whole table of patriotic stuff, and they have this big model, and I was like, what is that? Because I was like, that's beautiful. What is it? And I asked, and they said, oh, it's Teresa Kogut, Land That I Love. And so they found it for me, and I got it. And then I got some fabric. Some of this came from Facebook. Some of it came from uh, Cecilia's. So this came from Facebook. This was from Mystic Fabric on her Facebook group. This was her fabric of the month for June. This is Imagine. What is this? 28 count Lugana. It's not quite that purple. It's more pink in real life. I mean, it's definitely purple, but it's more of a pinky purple. And on my screen, at least, it looks more of a blue purple. But it's a very pinky purple. And then I also got this one. And actually, on my phone, they looked very different. And then when I got on the computer, they looked a little more similar to each other. And so I was like, I'm not sure what to expect. I don't know which one's right. But this one is, thankfully, they're different enough. This one is Sugar Plum, and this is more of a pink, like a fuchsia kind of pink. It looks purple on the screen, but it's more of like a fuchsia pink. I wonder if I show them together. Can you see the difference? Oh yeah, kind of. But one is like a pinky purple, and one is more of like a fuchsia pink. So that's what I got from. This is called Sugar Plum by Mystic Fabrics. That's what I got from her. And then this was one of the ones that I got from Fortnite. This is Humphrey, and this has kind of like a peach tone to it. I appreciated this one because it more than some of the others because it has a definite color to it. A lot of the others are just sort of like barely white, or barely not white. This one, you can see that there's a definite color to it. So I appreciated that. I'm getting kind of tired of the, it's pretty much white. So that's Humphrey by Fortnite Fabric. And their Subtle Samplers line. This is the fabric that I got from Cecilia's. So when I was planning my trip, I thought I want to get Fiber on a Whim released a series of fabrics named after coffee last year at the Needlework Expo, or earlier this year. I guess it was in March of this year. They had the coffee fabrics that they released at the Needlework Expo, and I thought there were 3 of them. It turns out that there's 6 or 8. But I'm like, I want to get some. As long as I'm going to the shop, I want to look at them. I want to get some. And so when we got to the Silver Needle, I was all excited. They don't have them. I was disappointed in Silver Needle's fabric selection. They had Pictureless Plus, and then I think they had Zweigart and Wichelt, and that was it. They didn't have very many dyers because I was looking for Fiber on a Whim and Fox and Rabbit, and some of these other dyers, and they didn't have any of that. So I was disappointed in that. But when I got to Cecilia's, Cecilia has everything. Cecilia's fabric selection is fantastic. So I got some Fox and Rabbit, not Fox and Rabbit. I ended up not getting the Fox and Rabbit because they were in 36 count, and I just ended up not doing that. But the Fiber on a Whim, she pulled them out, and there were like 6 or 8 of them, and it was hard to decide what to get. So the coffee ones, she had the affogato and she had the cream and sugar. And I ended up going with the affogato. I got a fat quarter of the affogato. I skipped over the cream and sugar because it was white. I have enough white and shades of white. So I ended up not doing that. But but they had some other colors. They had some greens and some blue greens, and they had this pink. And I was like, well, if I get the pink, what am I going to stitch on it? I don't know. But it was so pretty. And I'm like, I don't want to let it go, but I don't know what to stitch on it. So I'm like, well, let me just get a smaller piece of it. So I got a 13 by 18 piece of Fiber on a Whim's Merlot. Sorry about the glare. But it was just so pretty. So I got that. So I'm like, I didn't want to go to a full fat quarter of it, but I wanted some of it, so I got a smaller cut. And then I was going through the remnants, and I actually didn't even know what this fabric was, and I had to go looking for it online to find out what it was. But I found out that it's capri. Oh, that's not true at all. That's a little more true. It's capri by Seraphim Fabrics, and this is a 12 by 13 remnant of it. Sarah got a fat quarter of it for a Mirabilia that she's going to do next year. And then I just took the remnant of it. It's so pretty. It's more of a dark teal. It's not really kind of across very true on here. But it's like a dark teal. It's really pretty. And then I got to the checkout at Cecilia's. And I was going through my stuff. And I was kind of adding up. Because remember, I had already been to Silver Needle. And I had already spent a bunch of money at Silver Needle. And so I was at the checkout. And I was kind of adding up. How much is this? Do I need to put something back? What am I going to do? I did end up putting one chart back. I ended up putting back the Heritage Sampler by, I don't even know who it's by. It's by Plum Street. I don't even know. I ended up putting that back. But then I turned around and there was a whole rack of scissors behind me. And I'm like, oh, scissors. And I had looked at them already and I couldn't decide. And I had left and I came back. And I'm like, I should get some scissors while I was here, but which one should I get? And I couldn't decide. So, the answer is to get both of them. So I got these. And they're fancy and they're pretty. And then I got these little blue ones. And they got the little curved tip at the end. I got those. I told you July was a spendy month. And then the last thing that I'm going to show, I got The Homespun Needlework group, which you're free to join. It's open. You're free to join it. It's called Homespun Needlework Samplers and Cross Stitch. They do deals with designers for exclusive designs that they release to the members of that group only. And you have to be in that group to get the ordering instructions and the link. And it's exclusive to that group for whatever the time period is. I don't know. I think it's probably a year or whatever. Before, I'm sure they're at some point they're all going to be released to the general public. They did confirm recently that the United We Stand one by Blackbird last year is going to be released at some point. I don't know when. So since I've been in the group, I think they've had 4. They've had the Blackbird United We Stand. They did one by Stacy Nash that I skipped over. They did one by Lottie Da that I got, the Catherine Shelby sampler. And then they have this one by Hands On Design that they just closed. They're waiting to ship out the last of them. They need more supplies to ship out the last of them. But this is Tomato Tomato by Kathy Haberman at Hands On Design. And so I got that. And it comes with everything. There's a little wax in there, and they got a little tag, and they got the threads and the felt to do the tray with, and the felt for the leaves, and it comes with everything. There's a little bag that's not here, but they give you a little bag of stuffing to stuff the tomato with. Like, it comes with everything. It's a really nice kit. So I got that. On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, August 3rd, they are releasing their new exclusive. It's by, what's her name? Vicky Piccolo, Vicky the Piccolo Jeanette at Threadworks Primitive. What's the name of her group? Her company? I don't even know. Shame on me. Let me look this up. Is it Threadworks Primitive? I know some of you over here screaming at me. Let me look it up. Needlework Press. I'm wrong. It's not Threadworks Primitive. It's Needlework Press. Vicky the Piccolo Jeanette of Needlework Press. And they're doing the reveal on Tuesday and starting ordering on Tuesday. So if you're interested, the group is Homespun Needlework, Cross Stitch, and Samplers. You can join the group, answer the questions. It's, they don't restrict the group as long as you answer the questions and they can see that you're a stitcher. You're free to join the group, but you have to be in the group to get the exclusives. And I'll tell you though, they're not cheap. They're usually in the $70 to $90 range. They're not they're not inexpensive. So I think the Kathy Haberman one is the cheapest one yet, but they're $70 to $90. So I'm excited to see that. And they also have one. They have another Blackbird one that I have not gotten. It's called What Remains Is Love, I think. And that one's about to close. I haven't decided if I'm gonna get it, but I need to hurry because they're about to close it. So that was my July. Some stitching, a lot of shopping. A lot of shopping. There's a couple more things down here that I got and they fell off. I got Ebenezer's Christmas by Erica Michaels and Lottie Da's. What is this? Oh, it's what is it called? It's the Christmas story. It's the text of the Christmas story out of Luke chapter 2. Um, it's called Glad Tidings or something. Tidings of Joy, something like that, by Lottie Da. So that's what I got, and um, that's all I have. I don't have anything else. Work, we're still going in once a week. I kind of suspect that's about to come to an end. I suspect that we're about to go back on a lockdown. I don't know that, but I suspect that that's what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks or so. Is that at least LA County, if not California, is going to go back into lockdown. At least to some degree. Maybe not the same degree as last spring, but I think we're getting ready to go back to lockdown. So this going into the office once a week might stop. I don't know. And um, my mom and my uncle got all moved. They're in their new place. Yeah. Anything else that I wanted to talk about? Um, join Vicky Sal. The group is Stitch and Button on Facebook. Hashtag remember 911 Sal on Instagram. I guess you can use that on Facebook too, but Instagram. She's going to be posting her progress there. If I could start something, I would. I would start. I have the chart Remember 9/11 by Just Nan, and I have the threads for it. And if I was allowed to start something, I would start that. But I'm not going to break my Nunu starts for it. So I'm going to do a Stitch for Sweet Freedom, and that's fine. I've been babbling long enough. I've been going on more than an hour now. So my other video, I hope, is still uploading. So that's from June 1st, and then you'll have this one today. So you'll see everything that I've done between May and July. And so happy summer. We're halfway through now. But I hope you all are having a good summer. And I will talk to you next time. Happy stitching. Bye.